पैसे से अस्पताल बनाने का काम किया।
Amit Shah asserted that Prime Minister Modi had made democracy possible at the grassroots levels in the valley with the abrogation of Article 370.
ऐसे ही चुनाव आयोग का मतदाता सूची बनाने का काम समाप्त हो जाएगा। पूरी पारदर्शिता के साथ कश्मीर के अंदर चुनाव करा दिए जाएंगे। आज चुनाव आयोग ने जो डिलिमिटेशन किया है, इसके परिणाम स्वरूप आपके ही नुमाइंदे जीत कर आएंगे। पहले कश्मीर के अंदर जमहूरियत की व्याख्या थी 3 परिवार, 87 विधायक और 6 सांसद, और आज मोदी जी ने 5 अगस्त के बाद जम्मू कश्मीर में जमहूरियत को जमीन तक, गांव तक पहुंचाने का काम किया है।
Ahead of the rally, the Home Minister chaired a meeting of the Unified Command in Jammu and Kashmir and Srinagar. Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha, top officers of the army, paramilitary forces, state police and civil administration took part in this high-level meet. The visit has come under criticism from the opposition. Former J&K Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti posted a photo of the locked gate at her residence, alleging she was placed under house arrest during the Home Minister's visit. The J&K police rejected the claim, saying the PDP chief was free to travel, and posted a photograph showing the gate locked from the inside. With Himanshu Mishra in Baramulla and Ashraf Wani in Srinagar, Bureau Report, India Today.
Home Minister Amit Shah, in the terror hotbed of Baramulla, gave an account of the government's achievements after the abrogation of 370. Just how does the government's report card score? Also, the government seems to be laying the ground for elections after the electoral roll exercise is completed. If there are elections in Jammu and Kashmir, what is the likely political scenario that could emerge? To talk about this and more, I'm joined on the Newstrack on the day of the Shara by Lieutenant General Syed Atta Hasnain, former General Officer Commanding of the 15 Corps in Srinagar. We have Yashwant Deshmukh, the lead cephalogist at Sea Water. And for political perspective on this broadcast, I'm joined by Imran Nabi Dar, spokesperson of the National Congress Conference. We've got Rajinder Singh Chib, General Secretary of the Democratic Azad Party, Ravinder Sharma, spokesperson and leader of the Congress, and Shehzad Poonawala from the BJP. Is the Home Minister setting the stage for elections to be held in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir? What could be the scenario that emerges? Shehzad Poonawala, in the comments the Home Minister made in Baramulla this morning, he seemed to be laying the grounds for elections after the final voter list is prepared, which we are told is heading towards its completion. So does that mean that once this winter gets over, sometime in the early part of the second year, possibly with Karnataka, that Jammu and Kashmir could go to polls as well? Is that your plan?
Rahul, first of all, a very happy Vijay Dashmi to all your viewers. And what is Vijay Dashmi? It is the battle and the fight and the victory of good over evil. And if you see, after the abrogation of Article 370, we have been able to make DDD prevail over PPP. DDD being democracy, decentralization and development over Pakistan Parasti, Parivarwad and Patharbazi. Today, look at the transformation, and we are not heading just towards an election. Of course, election is an important part of the deepening of democracy, but look, the transformation that has taken place after the abrogation of Article 370. First, democracy, Jamhuriyat, was not till the Jameen. It was only till 3 parivars. Only 6 MPs and 87 MLAs would get elected. Today, we have 30,000 people, whether it's the Sthaniya Chunav, whether it's the Tehsil Chunav, whether it's the Panchayat Chunav, whether it's the BDC, DDC, all of these have taken place, and 30,000 elected officials are now today controlling the fate of Jammu Kashmir. First, we had a terror hotspot where we had so many events of Atankwad taking place. Today, it's become a tourism this year has seen the highest number of tourists in the last 70 years. First, it used to be about Vibhajan. Today, it is about Vikas. In 70 years, we had 15,000 crores of investment. Today, alone after the abrogation of Article 370, we've seen 56,000 crores worth of investment coming in. So this transformation will only happen when an ecosystem of normalization is created. And Rahul, something that is close to your heart, Hindi movies are finally being screened in the Ghati as well. So you can see the transformation that has taken place from Patharbaji and Pakistan Parasti. Today, these Algawwadis who used to control the narrative of Jammu Kashmir, today Yasin Malik has been convicted. Today you have the likes of Salahuddin and their children taken out of government jobs. You have had the back of the Hurriyat broken, and you have today got the people of Jammu Kashmir, the Awam of Jammu Kashmir becoming a stakeholder. And obviously, an important part of that process will be further elections. And let me just give you a final example. For so many decades, communities were not given their rights, whether it was the Valmiki Samaj, whether it is the women, or whether it is the Pahadi Samaj. The Pahadi Samaj was recommended to get the status of ST in the 1989 cabinet, but they were denied, and the Congress party and the NC, which had the opportunity to rule so many years and decades, never gave the Pahadi Samaj. Today, the Gujjars, the Bakarwals, and the Pahadi Samaj, all of them will get their right. This is the transformation. It's not just about election.
My father commanded an army regiment near Baramulla. This has for the longest time been a terror hotbed, and General Hasnain, there is political symbolism. The Home Minister of the country on the day of Vijay Dashmi Dashera in Baramulla talking about an ecosystem of normalization. How much of this, in your view, is the new reality? How much of this is political spin?
See, Rahul, first of all, my greetings to everyone on Vijay Dashmi. Yes, very interesting question you asked, and I remember the time when your father was there, and later when he commanded a brigade in the same district in Gurez. Gurez formed a part of Baramulla at that particular time. On 5th of August 2019, if someone had told me that this is going to be the situation 3 years hence, I may not have entirely believed it. I would have said, yes, possibly we'll arrive at that situation, somehow we'll parachute into that situation, we'll create an artificial kind of environment of safety and security. But I am pleased to report today that my ground knowledge, outreach to the people, etc., tells me that a tremendous amount of work has been done on the ground. A tremendous amount of outreach has been done on the ground, and preparedness has been done on the ground. So what is being spoken at Baramulla today is not something entirely hollow. It is lots and lots of work has gone into it, particularly the engagement with the people and different segments of the people. As very correctly said by Purawara Sahab, that different segments of people in Kashmir, particularly the youth, which is the most important segment as far as national security of Kashmir.
But the only way to really gauge that is when there's an election, General Hasnain. Then you'll know whether these youngsters actually show up to vote. You can attempt to engage them, whether they'll come out and vote in the elections is when we'll know whether they actually feel connected with the Indian system.
Let me just complete, Rahul. Yes, you're absolutely 100% right. We can't keep prevaricating on this. Obviously, these frequent visits of the Honorable Home Minister are good. They send a message and they carry a message back. Equally, I think equally is discussed in Delhi also. The Honorable Home Minister is a hands-on man. He likes to get a first-hand report. He's going to attend the Unified Command meeting today, I think. He was already probably attended it, getting inputs from every possible agency. So the problem which people were looking at, perceiving that this may be a little too early that we are moving, perhaps the perception today in my mind which is prevailing is perhaps the right time is just about coming. Geopolitically, we are prepared internationally to send home the right message. The integrated process is almost complete. Politically, yes, it's a challenge. There's lots and lots of groundwork still to be done. But I suppose we have to complete it. We have to take a decision to get into it. Even if there's 30% voting, 20% voting, we must go for it.
Yashwant Deshmukh, what's your best sense at this moment? If elections were to be held, what do you think could be the picture that emerges in these 90 seats that have been created after the completion of the delimitation exercise in Jammu and Kashmir? What's the next government of the Union Territory likely to look like?
Well, Rahul, first of all, happy Dashera to everyone. And as a professional, Rahul, Kashmir is very, very special for me because I take really pride that I happen to be the first pollster to ever conduct an opinion poll in Kashmir. And that was way back in the mid 90s. And I remember that when we were doing the first ever election poll in Kashmir, the lead of that story was that 82% in the valley fear that the polls will be rigged. That is where we started the lack of trust in the entire process of democratization and the feeling of being anti-Delhi, anti-India in the valley at large. But today, when I look at it, and today, when I look at the numbers, I genuinely believe that it is the turnout and turnout alone, which we have been witnessing already on the rise in the local body, in the local elections over there. That is going to decide the way 370 has impacted a lot. One thing which I really want to underline, Rahul, here is the debate on the delimitation, which some of the politicians from the valley have been presenting as if it's a gross injustice to the valley, which is absolutely not the fact. That's an utter lie. Reason being, Rahul, because of the 370, none of the delimitation exercises were done within the Kashmir state of Jammu and Kashmir, and the seats in the Kashmir valley were wrongly skewed in favor of the valley, while the population balance was always in Jammu. So it was the lack of delimitation which kind of skewed more seats for the valley and lesser seats for the Jammu, which was not the case after 370 when the delimitation was done. So it is now done correctly. You know, it has removed that gross injustice that the region of Jammu has been facing for a really long time. Having said that, Rahul, the overall equation in Jammu and Kashmir still remains very keen because we will still, whenever it is said it is declared as a full state, it will be state of Jammu and Kashmir. But largely speaking, these two regions actually behave like two different states, or for obvious historical reasons and the demographic profile as we know it. So when you look into Jammu, Rahul, you will still figure out that the prime contest would be between BJP and the Congress, where BJP might have a very strong upper hand at this point of time. But in the case of Valley, it is likely to be a multipolar contest, and particularly with the new entry of Ghulam Nabi Azad Sahab's party, it would be really interesting to see whether the Valley voters still get polarized between the two old parties of National Conference and PDP, or they look for new alternatives. And that is going to decide which way it is going, because BJP, even if it sweeps the entire Jammu region, Rahul, is unlikely to cross the majority mark on its own, even if they sweep the entire Jammu region.
This is where the role of the Democratic Azad Party becomes so crucial. Is Ghulam Nabi Azad the Trojan horse for the BJP? Will there be some kind of a post-election truck between Azad's new party and his friend, the Prime Minister? Some of that bonhomie we've seen play out in Parliament. Is that really what this election is likely to be about, sir?
Rahul, first of all, let me wish Happy Vijayadashmi to all the viewers.
And to you, sir.
And especially to you and all the panelists. The question which you asked me, I'm sure one of the panelists before me, he said that the main contest in Jammu will be between BJP and Congress. I don't agree with that. Ultimately, it is going to be contest between BJP and the Democratic Azad Party. So Congress, after the arrival of Janab Ghulam Nabi Azad Sahab on the scene in the JNK, I am sure that Congress is nowhere. It is going to be a keen contest between Democratic Azad Party and the BJP. Secondly, one of the panelists was talking about the delimitation. He said that delimitation has been done rightly now after the abrogation of 370. I think it will be very unfair to connect everything with the abrogation of 370. And even our Honorable Home Minister, he is here for last 3 days in JNK, and what I could gather from his Rajouri speech, and the Baramulla speech, whatever development has taken place in J&K, he has connected with the abrogation of 370, which is totally wrong.
No, so my
For
question
example,
was different. You are saying
Sir.
it will be Azad versus BJP. My question was, will it be BJP plus Azad after the elections?
No, I'm going to come on that. You said, will there be any alliance, post-alliance after that? I think we will not have any alliance, and we have not thought of any alliance with any party in Jammu and Kashmir. The Democratic Azad Party is going to go alone, independently. The name, the name of the party itself, Azad, doesn't symbolizes with Ghulam Nabi Azad, but Azad means having totally independent approach.
That's what PDP and BJP also said before the last elections, and then we saw quite famously what happened between senior Mufti and the BJP at that time. But we leave that for another time. Imran Nabidar, how are the traditional parties which came under attack from the Home Minister, accusing them of Parivarvad, how are they gearing up for this post-delimitation, post-completion of the electoral rolls exercise? Will a party like the NC participate in these elections? How do you think the result could pan out?
See, first of all, let me congratulate you and congratulate your viewers on this auspicious day. Coming back to the question, I think it's very it's be too early to actually make presumptions right now. And as elections are nowhere in sight, I think there is no point talking who will have an act. The point I'm trying to make here is that we have been waiting for the last 4 years for a democratic party to get voted. Unfortunately, that is not happening. And even today, there is no definite date that is. They have just said that there's the electoral rules and then things will pan out. It was coming back to your second question on Parivarvad. I don't understand. I mean, this rhetoric that BJP has been saying all along about family rule and family rule. Are they trying to say that all these institutions who have conducted these elections prior to August 370 were rigged? Are they questioning the Election Commission of India? Are they trying to say that all those elections were past elections? People voted for them, whether it was Umar Abdullah who became the Chief Minister or Dr. Farooq Abdullah or earlier
question there, Imran Dar, would be whether people in Kashmir, whether youngsters will participate or not in this election. The big claim of the Home Minister was that things are better post 370, that people in Kashmir feel that things are getting better, there is deeper engagement. All of that will get tested when this election happens.
Obviously, no. The point I'm trying to make here is that I think it has no basis. This statement of Parivarvad, what basis is it? I mean, it is not that Umar Abdullah himself became the chief minister. He was elected. People voted for it. People voted for Dr. Farooq Abdullah. And all the institutions that you see growing right now, who laid the foundation for these institutions? The institutions have suddenly not cropped up over the last of the last 4 months or so. People, whether it was National Conference government or the PDP government or other governments, they worked for these institutions, and that is why you see all these institutions hiding right now. As far as reservations are concerned, whether it is Gujar Bakarwal or Pahari, I want to inform your viewers that it was during Dr. Farooq Abdullah's tenure that he was the chief minister. He had recommended, he wrote to then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi at that time, and it was after his recommendation that Gujar Bakarwal will give reservation. And for your information also, it was during Umar Abdullah's tenure that 4% reservation on the basis of Pahari was given when Umar Abdullah.
Okay, Ravinder Sharma, where does the Congress stand on this issue of elections? We're hearing from Ghulam Nabi Azad's new party. They think it will be a democratic Azad versus BJP election. Is that the way that you see it, or do you think that Azad is now hand in gloves with the BJP?
See, first of all, Congress has already demanded that elections should be held as early as possible since 2018, June. Jammu and Kashmir is without democracy. They had an unholy alliance and a North Pole-South Pole government which utterly failed in their experiment, and they destroyed Jammu Kashmir. And thereafter they resorted to governor rule and then brought the historical state into UT, and now we are under left-hand governor's rule. Since then, we have been demanding that let the government go for elections. Why do you deprive a state, full-fledged state, from the democratic exercise? We are ready for elections. Everybody wants elections, but the demand is restore statehood. You have committed on the floor of the House earlier also. Where was the need to downgrade, divide and downgrade the state, historical state? You had a political agenda of abrogation of Article 370, but the question is...
Shehzad, the Home Minister has promised that statehood will be restored. The question is when? Will that happen before the elections? Will it happen after the elections? All the Valley parties will demand that statehood be restored before elections.
It is not only the Valley party.
Rahul, if I may.
Rahul, everybody wants restoration of statehood.
When will statehood be restored?
May I respond? Yeah.
First of all,
Rahul, look, may I respond? Let's speak one at a time. Rahul, look. Rahul, can I please...
Rahul,
I won't be able to speak if he's going to continue to talk.
Rahulji, is it my time? I do not... there is some confusion.
Ravinderji, you've just spoken. I'm coming back to you in a moment. I've asked the question that you asked to Shehzad Poonawalla of the BJP. When will statehood be restored, Shehzad?
Look, Rahul, these are decisions that are going to be taken in due course of time because there is obviously administrative and other issues that have to be factored in. And therefore, once a commitment has been made in Parliament, the steps will be taken towards that direction. But having said that, let me make a couple of points that are very important. First of all, look at who's talking about democracy in Jammu Kashmir. The Congress party, whose own Home Minister and former Finance Minister has acknowledged that one of the elections was rigged. This is their Home Minister and former Finance Minister who said it in the public domain. Secondly, the Congress party just spoke about the reservations. Let me tell you what kind of things they and Farooq Abdullah did. In 1989, the cabinet had recommended Pahadis, Bakarwals and Gujars to be put in the ST category. At that time, I think it was Mr. Pilot who only put the Gujars and the Bakarwals, and it was not a complete articulation of that status also, because a lot of the central laws that apply to the tribal community never applied. For instance, the atrocities against tribals and scheduled castes was never applicable because of Article 370. Today, it is the Justice Sharma Committee which has recommended the status for scheduled tribes, even for the Pahadis, and that is being moved. And let me tell you what else has been done. For the first time after the delimitation process, 9 seats are reserved for the scheduled tribes, of which 6 are in the Pir Panjal area. So this is the kind of representation that is being spoken of.
But you aren't answering my question. When is the right time to restore statehood in Jammu and Kashmir, before or after the elections?
Look, Rahul, we are, one second, Rahul, these are administrative matters where a large number of stakeholders are involved. For a spokesperson of a political party to announce a decision that should ideally be coming through Parliament or through made in Parliament would be quite haughty of me. But I am telling you that my party is committed, as has been spoken in Parliament, that we are ready to give all the rights that the state deserves. And the more important question, Rahul, that needs to be asked is that when Jammu Kashmir had the full status as a state, what did these 3.5 families do? What did they do? Let me give you one instance. Which was, why did they not make the scheduled tribe status for Pahadis when between 2005
so you're calling it an administrative decision, but it is pretty much a political decision, as was the abrogation of Article 370. General Hasnain, if you were to look at it from a political security perspective, when would be the right time for statehood to be restored? Do you do it after completing a successful election? Do you do it before going in for the polls, because that would encourage more people to come out and vote?
See, Rahul, I know we've been talking about the administrative inputs to take this final decision. But I personally feel this decision was taken on the 5th of August for a particular purpose. That was to my mind, the restoration of stability, to assist the government of India, the central government of India, to ensure that it had its hand in ensuring the stability and security of Jammu and Kashmir, before finally democracy was returned again. To my mind, that process should be completed once the elections are complete, once the government is in place, and then suitably a message can be sent out that restoration of statehood has been done. So to my mind, it's a post-election. Asking me in black and white, it's a post-election decision and action which should be taken, because before that, if you do it prematurely and you cannot complete the democratic process for any reason whatsoever, it may not be correct.
Yashwant Deshmukh, is there any way at all of knowing the level of participation we could see in an election which is held sometime early next year. Participation, especially in parts of North Kashmir, has traditionally been low. Would it fall even further? At what level would you determine that electoral process to be a success?
Well, I genuinely believe, Rahul, looking at the numbers, of course, I mean, participation in election exercise and participation in only opinion polling are two different things. But what I can tell you from my own experience is that that the response rate from the valley also has been quite good in all our surveys, as in the case of Jammu. So I am expecting.
So are you surveying even now in Jammu and Kashmir? Do you want to tell our viewers just broadly, without getting into specifics, what you're picking up?
That's exactly what I'm, because you know that we do our trackers almost on a daily basis all across India. And what I can tell you from my experience and my team's experience is that that the response rate has, I mean, in our exercises has been quite good, which kind of tells me that people are actually keen to take part in the democratic process. There are, of course, there are issues there which will remain there. You know, Rahul, it's a historically speaking, it's quite a big fault line out there, which will take its own time to heal. But I guess once the 370 is done and dusted, people are also looking at opportunity to move on, and that thing is something which will happen only when the statehood is retained and the electoral process starts. I guess that people are kind of keen to move over and proceed for whatever the next thing they can do.
There. Do you restore statehood before elections, because that will get more people to come out and vote, or after elections, which would possibly be the more calibrated fashion, but that would impact the number of people showing up to vote? To what extent has the abrogation of Article 370 actually been a success? How much of this is spin doctoring and how much of it is people feeling that their lives are better? You know, not just in terms of government claims, but in terms of how people feel and their connection with the mainland. Those are things which will get validated in some way by the number of people who show up to vote in these elections that happen. The Home Minister indicating that this could happen after the electoral rolls are completed. I want to thank all our guests. We'll keep tracking the electoral process as it builds up towards the beginning of next year. A big move this, to go to Baramulla, seen for a long time as a hotbed of terror on the day of Vijayadashmi, sending out this message about his report card, what the government has done, and about the road forward on the elections. We'll slip into a break. When we come back, we're following up to India Today's big investigation exposing the Pakistan Dawat-e-Islami. Details coming up on the other side. Stay with us.
I noticed something new. You started using a new body lotion.
Funny. I'm so sorry for the delay. I was on another call. It just kept going on.
No, Papa. You were in a steam bath.
Steam bath? At home?
Two steam bath he takes.
Go to your homework.
It's 7:20 already. The kickoff's in 5 minutes. Get all the boys. We have the entire place to ourselves, man. Not working?
Of course it is. But I don't want you guys to be using this bathroom. So use the other one.
Hey, I noticed something new. You started using a new body lotion.
Funny.
Armed with facts, she takes the news by its horns.
Do you think the future of these students are not hampered?
Fierce, bold, and direct, setting the tone for the biggest stories from every corner and every angle. Expect nothing but the unfiltered truth.
News first, niceties later. Watch me, Nabila Jamal, on India Today. China's debt trap has pushed the island into one of the tragic financial crises. Now the IMF has agreed to restore macroeconomic stability within the country. Sri Lanka reached an agreement with the IMF where it said that it will provide a loan worth $2.9 million to Sri Lanka. The extended funds will help Sri Lanka to restore their sustainability. The 48-month program is yet to be approved by the IMF management. IMF Senior Mission Chief Peter Brewer reinforced the need for urgent short-term support for Sri Lanka to avert a humanitarian crisis in the country. To get IMF's assistance, Sri Lanka must adhere to their conditions. The island country has to implement major tax reforms. This includes making personal income tax more progressive while broadening the tax base for corporate income tax and VAT to meet a primary surplus of 2.3% of GDP by 2024. They have to introduce cost recovery-based pricing for fuel and electricity to minimize fiscal risks arising from the state-owned enterprises. Mitigate the impact of current crisis on the poor by raising social spending and rebuild foreign reserves through restoring a market-determined and flexible exchange rate. Restore price stability through data-driven monetary policy action, fiscal consolidation, phasing out of monetary financing as well. Finally, Sri Lanka must reduce corruption vulnerabilities by improving fiscal transparency and public financial management. India helped Sri Lanka by offering financial packages worth $500 million credit facility, gasoline imports and credit for critical imports from India. India has sent also $2.4 billion through currency swaps loan deferrals. But it's not helped Sri Lanka enough. Apart from India, Japan...
Priti, you refused Karan Johar's lust stories because the role centered around the female orgasm and your mother vetoed it.
So my mother was just it is a short film. It's a 20-minute thing about only a female orgasm. I mean, fine, if you're doing a 20-minute thing in a full-fledged film, it still makes sense. But maybe I don't think you should do it at this point. So that was the whole discussion.
So you've been very open and to your great credit.
I've been very open till now. I'm very open for everything. I have allowed them
कोई love
to
scene
go to parties.
Kriti की कोई love scene हो या
no problem.
You have no problem
I
with that.
don't have any problem.
You've only drawn the line at the orgasm. उसके पहले
Co-presented by Only OLX Autos gives the best price for your car. Co-presented by Macho Hint, fashion बड़े आराम से.
Last night on the Newstrack, we exposed how the Pakistan-based Dawat-e-Islami has spread its tentacles in India, running radicalization operations in the garb of offering online courses. The explosive investigation became a national talking point, coming in for high praise from top government officials and experts. India Today is the channel of real impact.
जो खुदा की राह में मारे जाएं उन्हें मुर्दा न कहो बल्कि वो जिंदा हैं. वतन अजीज पाकिस्तान हमारे लिए बहुत बड़ी नेमत है. इसकी तामीर में हम सबको हिस्सा लेना चाहिए. ऐ काश हमारा मुल्क हकीकी मानों में इस्लाम का मजबूत कलआ बन जाए.
A probe that exposed the Indian footprints of a radical Pakistani organization.
आज मुसलमान गफलत में पड़े हुए हैं. हर तरफ गुनाहों का दौर दौरा है और गैर मुस्लिम हम पर गालिब हो चुके हैं. कोई कुर्बानी देता भी है तो दुनिया के लिए देता है. आखिरत का तस्वुर कम होता जा रहा है।
A Karachi-based organization linked to the beheaders of Udaipur tailor Kanhaiyalal. India today penetrated deep into Pakistan's Dawat-e-Islami.
माशाअल्लाह, तो हमें आपका फॉर्म मिला हुआ है। यार भाई, हमारे यहाँ मदनी खादा और नाज़रा कोर्स होता है, तो इससे पहले आपने कभी मदनी खादा पढ़ा है?
And unraveled something seriously disturbing. Dawat-e-Islami's well-oiled structure in India with bank accounts, local mobile numbers and men on the ground. Our probe has drawn praise from the country's topmost strategic, defense, cyber experts and members of civil society.
Rahul, at the very outset, compliments to your reporter for uncovering this. I really wish it wasn't your reporter, but an official agency of the government which had actually uncovered it. But I think these days journalists are doing a better job of getting this kind of information than the spooks are.
Our probe blew the whistle on Dawat-e-Islami's sinister propaganda in India, carried out by borderless technology and aimed at radicalizing Indian Muslims.
I personally feel this investigation should have been done by some intelligence agency or the police.
Sir, हमें भी करने दो थोड़ा सा काम. We can also do some good stories.
Yes, compliment to your team and great work done.
The probe alerted civil society about Pakistan's latest tactics.
Whatever you have presented today is appreciable, and nobody can deny that this is a fact.
Our probe has prompted calls for a full-fledged investigation by central agencies into Dawat-e-Islami's operations in India.
Your illustrious and a very competent reporter penetrated the deep web that is Dawat-e-Islami and ably penetrated by Muhammad Hizbullah. Compliments and kudos to him. I'm sure the intelligence agencies and the police agencies could have and must have access to them, and if they have access to them, what are they doing till now?
हमारे यहाँ सुबह 8 बजे से लेकर के रात में 12 बजे तक क्लास चलती रहती है ना। अच्छा। तो अब इसमें आप जो भी टाइम बताएंगे।
A blockbuster expose and an alarm for the country's security establishment. A report by India Today's Special Investigative Team.
This is where I wrap up the Newstrack tonight. For your time and your trust, thank you very much. Wish you all a very happy Dussehra. I'll see you again tomorrow at 8 p.m. Goodbye. Good night.
Hey, I noticed something new. You started using a new body lotion.
Funny. Pet dogs and their owners are in the news amid a string of incidents involving pet dogs attacking owners and others. And to curb such incidents, here are some approaches that pet owners should take based on the breed and behavioral patterns of their dog. When it comes to pet dogs, the most popular breeds for adoption are German Shepherds, Beagles, Pit Bulls, Spitz, Labradors and Golden Retrievers. So let's take a look at the various approaches that must be taken when dealing with these pet dogs. They're arguably the
the most versatile dog breed. This dog breed is intelligent and large in size. They make excellent guard dogs and can perform a variety of tasks and are used especially by police officers and military personnel. They detect illegal drugs, bombs and track down terrorists. According to some animal rescuers, German Shepherds are larger protectors, so one needs to understand their needs before adopting one. A German Shepherd who's being chained all the time, whether in an apartment or a farm,